had accompanied the destruction of the old Chicago Stadium, as if any Bulls' dreams of a championship were crashing down alongside. But across the street tonight, those emotions have been buried as the best basketball player on the planet comes. On this very building, Michael Jordan said goodbye to basketball. Tonight, to a city drenched with euphoria. And everybody, Dan Roan welcoming you to a very special presentation of WGN Sports as Michael returns home. It will be a new building. It's a new number, of course, but it's the same old Mike, and you'll see his United to wall and live right here tonight. What a way to start, too, against the Orlando Magic. Penny, Shaq, Horace in the game. Best record in the NBA. We think we have a pretty good team assembled tonight here, too, to bring you all the action on and off the court. And let's meet them right now. Rich?
Okay, Dan, the excitement growing down the locker in the hallway where Mike head for the floor in his first ever game here at this brand new building, the United Center. And for the view up on courtside, let's go up there now.
Rich, I'm on the court, but it might as well be a stage tonight. The court surrounded by media, everyone from the Wall Street Journal to a Warner Brothers film crew. And while Michael may be the biggest celebrity in the house, he's not the only one. We'll be on Celebrity Watch tonight. We'll tell you who's here. What's going on outside, Allison?
Randy, I'm outside with Michael Jordan's statue behind me, and fans are lined up ready to go inside. And coming up, we're going to go inside and show you where fans will get the best view of Michael tonight and the worst view, if there is such a thing. Right now, let's go over to Michael Jordan's restaurant with Dina Fair and Robert Jordan.
And we're here inside Michael Jordan's restaurant where fans began lining up early this afternoon. I'm Robert Jordan along with Dina Fair.
This is certainly the next best thing to being here. We've got a big screen TV behind us, and it's tuned to WGN, and we're going to watch Michael in his first game at the United Center. Now let's toss it back there to Dan Roan.
All right, you guys have a good time. I guess we have all the bases covered if we can still use those baseball analogies. Jordan. Tonight we begin at the beginning. You know, Bulls fans across the country are only hoping that Michael's second tour of duty with this basketball team can be happy. Drafted number 3 by the Bulls overall, Jordan led the team in scoring, rebounds, and assists and was named the NBA Rookie of the Year for 1985. Michael missed most of his sophomore season with a broken leg, but returned in time to score an NBA playoff record 63 points against the Boston Celtics. In '87, MJ won the first of his 7 consecutive scoring titles. Scottie Pippen and Horace Grant arrived in that summer's draft. 4 pieces of the championship puzzle were now in place. The following season, it was Michael's All-Star weekend at the stadium. Jordan Mania had arrived. In the '89 playoffs, Jordan's signature shot launched the Bulls on their championship quest. Detroit beat him in the conference finals, but notice had been served. The Bulls were here to stay. Cleveland Cavaliers once again became victims of a Michael moment when Jordan scored his career-high 69 points, but the NBA Finals were still a year away. In 1991, the dream came true. The Bulls drained the Lakers in 5 games for their first ever NBA title. Jordan was the league's regular season and finals MVP. History repeated in '92. Another title, another regular season MVP, another finals MVP, and another record. Most threes in a playoff half. Unconscious, and so was Chicago. In '93, on the brink of elimination in the playoffs, Jordan poured in 76 points on Memorial Day weekend to bring the Bulls back to life and into the final for the 3rd straight year. The heroics belonged to John Paxson, but MJ still won his 3rd MVP Finals award. Michael shocked the world with his sudden retirement in '93 and the world when he signed with the White Sox in '94. And start in front of a different Chicago crowd. As baseball's labor dispute intensified, Jordan found himself in the middle, torn between his support of the Players Union and his own desire to improve his skills. 2 weeks ago, Jordan emptied his locker and returned to Chicago. Sightings of Jordan at Bulls practices fueled rumors of his return to the court. On March 18th, he made it official. I'm back. And so the Bulls look to pick up where they left off back in 1993. The dream on hold and one promise left unfulfilled.
Certainly, destiny shall be back here for the 4th time. Thank you.
Well, can that possibly happen? Nah, I don't know about this season, but I do know that Michael had a very smooth 27 in Boston Wednesday night to be rounding into form. We do know one thing. He is making life very interesting for his head coach. Let's go down to courtside now, join Wayne Larrabee with Phil Jackson. Wayne?
Well, tell you what, Dan, Michael Jordan is making things very interesting for one head coach, Phil Jackson. And Phil, as you look at this game tonight, aside from the Michael Jordan situation, this is a measuring stick for your ball club, isn't it? And the Magic, after all, bring the best record of the NBA to town.
Well, it really is an early kind of warning signal for them and maybe for us as to where this is going to be in, you know, maybe a farther piece down the NBA season. We hope so. We hope that it's something is a sounding board for this basketball team where they can be, but it's really too early for my team, our coaching staff, or Michael Jordan to really give a representative view of what we can be.
And in all honesty, your team isn't quite put together. You don't have all the pieces necessarily where they're going to be come late April.
Under our belt, a few practices, and there's still a bunch of guys that have to learn how to play together.
Well, let me ask you this in terms of playing together. You've got 3 players on your
nice 18-foot jump shot, and against big teams like Indiana, we used him a little bit in there.
All right, and then finally, I guess in terms of this ball club and this team and everything, for you and the coaches, has it been fun, all this stuff that's been going on and all the excitement of Jordan's return?
Well, you know, there's that. This is really him, 45 and the number, but it's really him, and he's out there. We can prove it, and it's been fun.
All right, Bill, thank you very much. Good luck tonight. We'll see you tomorrow night.
Thank you very much.
Bill Jackson, the head coach of the Chicago Bulls. Quickly, let's go back upstairs to Dan Rowan.
All right, Wayne, thank you very much. The pieces do seem to be falling into place, and of course, that Phil Jackson, who's done such a great job ever since he's been with the basketball for him, but I'm sure he'll be up to it, and you'll get to watch them tonight. Step aside for a moment, come back with much more from the United States. Continuous. Michael returns home.
Michael Comes Home is brought to you by your local Ford dealer, where quality breeds success. Beechwood aged Budweiser. It's always been true. This Bud's for you. Your local McDonald's restaurant. Have you had your break today? By Fila. Change the game. And your Chicagoland, Northwest Indiana Toyota dealers. I love what you do for me, Toyota.
Raised.
Welcome back to the United Center in Chicago, where Michael Jordan gets a real-time tour of his new home tonight. Wandering the building somewhere. Let's see if we can find her out.
I found, Dan Roan, I found the best seats in the house. I don't know who these lucky people are, but hey, I wish I knew some of them so I'd have a seat this great. These are the most expensive seats tonight, closest to the court. They'll have the best view of Michael Jordan and company. But if you look all the way up, go up about 5 stories up, well, that's standing room only. And a lot of folks stood in line, waited a long time this week to get those seats. Not the best view in the world, but hey, they can say they were in the United Center when Michael Jordan came home. Right, Dan?
I guess they can say that. Oh, I think what I would do is go home, get in front of my TV, turn on Channel 9, and watch it from the comfort of my easy chair right in front of that TV. But they can't say they were in the building, and this is quite a moment for all Bulls fans, not only the ones that are here, but the ones around the country. You know, Rich King has been following this Michael return story since it began a couple of weeks ago, and he has something for us down at courtside. Rich?
Okay, Dan, we're still awaiting the emergence of Michael behind me here from the Bulls locker. Things heating up a bit later on with that regard. But, you know, a lot of people talking about Michael Jordan's return, attention all over the league and all over the world for that matter. How about the guys, the superstars who once played with the great Michael Jordan? Of course, Larry Bird being one, Magic Johnson and Isaiah Thomas. What did they think about Magic? Let's go back and hear what they had to say.
I'm happy that he's back. I think he's going to add a lot to the NBA, especially in the playoffs.
During his retirement, did you think maybe he might stay retired, or all along did you think he'd eventually come back?
Well, I didn't think he was going to be a baseball player. So obviously, I think that Michael loves challenges. His heart is in basketball. He loves to play. He loves to compete.
He came back, and I'm happy for him. I like to see great players play, and there's no better player to be after than Michael Jordan, because he does a lot for this league. No, I've seen about everything. I've seen him score over 60 in here, and he's beaten us. He's dunked on us. He's done about everything, and you guys are used to it, but it's always good to see him back out there. He played extremely well tonight. He's just going to continue to get better and better.
I was excited. I was very happy. You know, it was an electricity appeal to us. I was in a hotel room in Memphis, and I couldn't leave from in front of the television. I had a 1 o'clock flight. The game was coming on at noon, and I couldn't leave from in front of the television. I ended up missing my flight because I just couldn't leave the television. I wanted to sit down there and get my full of Jordan.
So Bulls fans certainly aren't the only people around basketball glad to see Michael Jordan back in uniform. Right now, Randy Salerno sitting down at courtside. He's been patrolling the building as well. Randy?
You know, Dan, about the only thing that could possibly generate more media credential requests this time of year, probably the Academy Awards. And believe it or not, Hollywood is even here tonight. Ivan Reitman and Warner Brothers here making a movie that will include Michael and Bugs Bunny. And, you know, at this point, we haven't seen either one of them, but we know Michael is in the house. A little later tonight, we expect a scene reminiscent of Indianapolis on Sunday. It was a press conference, the likes of which you don't see very often. We had press there, sort of the size of a news conference you'd see either royalty or the president in town. And, in fact, headlines from around the planet have documented this one Earthling's return to the game. French, Spanish, probably even Klingon, but, you know, we just couldn't find a paper from that planet. They're always a couple weeks late getting here. And speaking of outer space, take a look at this. This is where some 200 reporters will have to sit. Their seats are even higher than the standing room only seats that people waited outside to get. So if you're at home, think of this. You have a better seat and a better view than all these journalists that are sitting way up there. 450 requests for credentials, 350 got in. One that didn't, the Polish National Hall of Fame. I don't know what that means, Dan, but back to you.
Well, the wise move by you, Randy, not to try to pronounce those headlines, too. Right now, Johnny Kerr is standing by, ready to join us. And, John, you've seen Michael for so many years. You get a chance to see him now as his comeback brings him to the United Center. I'm not going to ask you what he's done for this basketball team so far, because there's a big transition period ahead even now. But what can he do for this basketball team down the line?
Well, you know, first of all, let's talk a little bit about what the fans are expecting to see here tonight. You know, Dan, he quit. He's been out of action for 2 years. A lot of people said, you should have seen Michael Jordan. I can remember him playing at the stadium. He did this, he did that. Now, a lot of people's kids now are a couple years older, and they can take him to this game. Now, a whole new generation will be seeing him, and people that were hearing about Michael Jordan now get a chance to see what he was like. What he can do for this team? When he came back, that team, after he was hurt, he led them to the playoffs, as you know, and that's when he got the 63 points in the Boston Garden. I think with the 15 games we've got left here, I don't know if he can move them too high in the standings. There's some teams above him that'll play real well, but he'll be ready. He's fine-toning those skills going down to the stretch.
He really is. Now, what kind of Michael Jordan can these people expect to see, John? Will this be the Michael Jordan that we all know and remembered from those glory days back at the stadium?
Yeah, I'm sure you will. You'll see a guy that will. The Bulls aren't averaging an awful lot of points, but he will up-tempo this game. He will take shots that were made to be taken out of that triple post offense. It's going to be a lot of fun, Dan. I know you and I are looking forward with all the viewers we've got.
You are absolutely right about that. John, thanks very much. You and Wayne have a great game tonight. Bulls and the Orlando Magic coming your way a few minutes down the line. Right now, we'll step aside and return with much more from the United Center and from Michael Jordan's restaurant on LaSalle as we bring MJ back to Chicago. Welcome back to the United Center from a view so high that you might not even be able to tell which player is wearing which number. But we can tell you this much. Michael has a different number on now than he used to have when he played across the street from here. Michael memorabilia making a huge comeback right now, of course, with his return to the court. But that new jersey is the one that everybody wants. And Larry Potash has that story.
Michael Jordan's number has changed, but those magical moves that defeated the Celtics Wednesday prove his game is the same, as spectacular as ever. For Jordan, 45 is more than a number.
Something that you identify yourself with. It's like a name. It's sentimental.
The shirts are selling as fast as the new shipment of 45s arrive. Having the retired 23 isn't enough anymore for people who want to be like Mike.
We're not all basketball players. We're not all world-class athletes. If this, helps me to feel better about myself because Mike wears it, well, more power to you.
I just want a part of the fun, while he's back. Enjoy it.
New Jordan shirts, 45.
You know what size you need?
Yes.
Sue McCann bought 3 shirts for her nephews. She says wearing 45 is a way of applauding Jordan and thanking him.
They want to be like Mike. They want to do what he does, and they want to show their support for his willingness to return to the game.
With Michael Jordan's return to the Bulls, tickets to the game are a little more difficult to come by. For many people, wearing a 45 jersey is as close to Michael Jordan as they can get.
Until I can get tickets to the game, I'll have my nephews wear his shirt.
Hide on him, then we knew it would be that, the number 45 jersey. And joining me now is David Falk, Michael's longtime agent and manager. And David, those 45s are jumping out of the stores already.
Well, my 2 daughters have got to go to college in about 6 years. I'm hoping they keep jumping out of the store.
Everybody would take just about anything Michael takes, or Michael says, at face value. I mean, he's a very believable guy, and that's why he does so well in the business world. But one thing people aren't really buying is the fact that he didn't really make up his mind to come back and play basketball until really right up to the last moment that he announced it. Now, you tell us what the scenario was and what the timetable was.
Well, contrary to popular belief and a lot of the speculation that's been floating around Chicago for the past 2 or 3 weeks, Mike really did make the decision at the very last minute. And I spent 3 very arduous days with him trying to play devil's advocate with him and trying to suggest to him that perhaps it might not be the right environment to make a decision right now because it was so close on the heels of his retirement from baseball. But Michael's got a great instinct for making decisions, and his love for the game is so strong that he just felt after 3 days of playing devil's advocate, he said, there's nothing you can say, there's no question you can ask. I really want to come back. And by Friday, I became convinced that's really what he wanted to do, and we went ahead and put it in motion the very next day.
Well, you've been with him for so long. Why wouldn't you think it'd be a great idea for him to come back? What would be the worst case scenario that could happen in all this?
Well, I wasn't concerned it wasn't the right idea to come back. I was concerned whether it was the right time to make the decision, because it was a very emotional time for him giving up baseball, and I was concerned sort of the rebound effect. But Michael's a great instinctive decision maker, and I think he's always done the right thing, and financial success has followed. And in this case, he wanted to come back for the love of the game. He came back strictly and solely for the love of the game, and I'm very certain that financial success will follow him again.
We're all excited about what's going to happen tonight. David, thanks for coming up. We appreciate it, and go get settled in and get ready.
I'm going to cheer really loud tonight. Great to see you.
All right, David Falk. And right now, let's over to MJ's restaurant on LaSalle Street. Bob Jordan and Dina Bear standing by there.
Dan, it's the place that bears his name. I am, of course, the man that shares his name. And I can tell you, people here are just as excited as if they had a ticket to the game. They figure they can at least touch a piece with Michael here. And boy, did they line up early to do so.
Oh, they sure did. We talked to some people who got in line here early this morning. All right, folks, how long have you been in line today?
For about 2 hours.
Were you surprised that Michael came back?
I'm
very happy he came back.
All right, they've got a variety of T-shirts. Here's a real interesting one. What about this one?
It's just one I picked up on the street.
Yeah, I'm sure there are lots of different Jordan T-shirts around. It's a great evening here for people who can't get to the stadium.
Absolutely, and this gentleman here, you waited in line for how long this morning?
I've been here since 10:30 this morning, waiting to see the greatest go off tonight and show how he's the greatest. Go Rebels de los Centro!
And this woman here, she does have a ticket actually, although it's just not her best here. And you said you'd do something very crazy for a ticket to the game.
I said I'd skip my wedding day just to be and watch the game.
That's pretty good, and that's only watching here from Michael Jordan's restaurant.
All right, it's been a great crowd, and there's a lot of excitement in the air. We'll be here all night, and we'll keep you posted on all the festivities here, so come on back and join us from time to time. Live from Michael Jordan's, I'm Robert Jordan.
And I'm Dina Baer. Back to you, Dan Rowan at the United Center.
All right, Dina, thank you very much. You know, these commercial enterprises that Michael's involved in are booming and have really jumped up with the news that he's coming back to basketball. For more on that, Rich King with a special guest downstairs. Rich?
Okay, Dan, thank you very much. Well, of course, Gatorade, one of the firms Michael's represents. Joining us now is Bill Schmidt, the vice president of Gatorade. And Bill, I know on opening day for Michael in Indiana, he got those leg cramps, and what do you say afterward? Didn't drink enough Gatorade, huh?
Well, I don't think Michael anticipated for any moment that he was going to play 43 minutes, so he was probably filled up enough for halftime, but no longer than that. So,
what does his return mean for you?
Well, Michael's return for Gatorade is a tremendous opportunity for us to continue to market Michael at what he does best, which is play basketball. And it ties in with our current program, which is Life as a Sport, Drink It Up. And that typifies how Michael approaches life in general.
You know, I was talking to somebody from Japan. They say he's a worldwide figure, obviously. He was a front page story in Japan, so this helps you all over the globe. International deal, isn't it?
Right, and in Japan, he has about a 95% awareness level. And we, you know, as you launch your product in various countries, they may not be aware of the sports beverage category, but they're certainly aware of Michael Jordan. So it gives us a great opportunity to leverage that relationship as we launch our product around the world.
He has reached really an Elvis-type proportion, hasn't he?
That's the closest I can compare him with at all.
Let's take a look at your T-shirt here. We got it for you. I think I saw this in Dina Baer's live shot along with Bob Jordan. There's a... Wow, how'd this come about? Tell us about this.
Well, last week, or actually 2 weeks ago, when we weren't sure about whether Michael was going to unretire, there was one shirt that said, Michael Chills, City Sweats, and this is kind of the sequel to that, which is the city's thirst is quenched. Michael returns. So.
Okay, Bill, thanks for joining us and good luck.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
Okay,
Thank you,
Dan, Bill Schmidt of Gatorade, back up to you in the perch.
What a commercial enterprise, and he's all ours. You'll see him in about 23 minutes when he makes his first appearance on the United Center floor, so don't go away.
Bullseye is brought to you by the Stars of Chicagoland, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Wendy's Old Fashioned Hamburgers, where you don't pay more, you get more every day. And your local Chicagoland and Northern Indiana GMC truck dealers.
United Center filling up quickly, an early arriving crowd as opposed to what we usually see for Bulls basketball here in the building. A big night ahead. You'll see it all on WGN. Right now, let's check in with Randy Salerno downstairs. Randy?
Appeals to everyone, including other professional athletes. I'm joined by Steve Smith, a Chicago Blackhawk defenseman. Are you amazed at how fast a fellow athlete was able to get to the top of his game like he has?
It is incredible. He is just second to none. Spectacular athlete, great person, obviously a very fit person and a health-conscious person. To get back in that type of shape and that type of that much of a time span is pretty incredible.
You play a little defense, but I bet even you can't stop Mike.
I got a big stick that might stop him. I don't think they're going to let me on the court with it. He's a pretty incredible player. He put on quite a show the other night in Boston, and as you see tonight, people are fired up for a big show tonight.
Okay, Steve Smith, Chicago Blackhawk defenseman, thanks for joining us. Dan, what do you have up there?
Well, we're going to send it out to a break for a second here, Randy. We'll come back and talk a little bit about this game that you'll be seeing later on. Also, Michael Jordan one-on-one with WGN. You'll see that when we continue after this. Time now for us to talk a little bit about this basketball game tonight between the Magic and the Chicago Bulls. Tickets for this game would have been scarce, Michael or no Michael. These two teams have played 3 terrific ball games already this season, and I'll guarantee you one thing, there's nothing the Magic would like better than to spoil Michael's night here in Chicago tonight. The Magic have seemed a bit confused lately. Coming into this week, they'd lost 3 straight and looked like anything but the beast of the East. Then came Tuesday night's showdown with Phoenix.
Missing there, and it's a track meet now. And they have the slam by Penny Hardaway.
These guys are back up to their old tricks again. With talent like this, Orlando can't stay down for long. Shaq's been playing like a maniac, headed for NBA Player of the Month honors, and more importantly, he must be the favorite for NBA MVP. Nobody else can match his numbers in so many categories. The most powerful force in basketball, even with you-know-who back on the floor. Michael gets a good look at Penny Hardaway tonight. That alone would be worth a scalper's price. And Horace Grant comes face-to-face with Jordan for the first time as real-life enemies. The subplots are endless, and this series has been terrific all year, even without Michael. January 10th at the United Center. Grant's well-hyped homecoming turned out to be a Chicago stampede, 109-77, Orlando's worst offensive number this year. Scottie Pippen's triple-double nailed it down for the Bulls. January 26th in Orlando. The rematch was a watered-down version with Pippen suspended and Grant injured. And still, the Bulls almost pulled this off, losing 102-99. Then a month later, again in Orlando, this time Shaq had been suspended. But Penny Hardaway spoiled what should have been a Bulls victory. A steal and a dunk in the final second gave the Magic a 105-103 win. So 3 games, each with an unexpected result. Tonight, Chapter 4, with a new and unexpected addition to the mix. Unexpected is right. The NBA's team of the future against a ball club trying to recapture past glory. You know, Michael Jordan and Penny Hardaway were teammates in Scottie Pippen's charity game across the street back in September, but they have never played against each other in anger. Tonight they will, and earlier we talked to Penny about what he thought about Michael's comeback.
I'm very happy because he makes me better. You know, just by watching his moves and the things that he does out there on the court, offensively and defensively. And when you play against the best, then you can use him as a measuring stick to see how good you are. So when I play against him, I'm definitely going to give him my all and see what I can do against the best.
It should be terrific to watch tonight. The Bulls and the Magic. Right now, we'll step aside for a moment, come back as Wayne Larrabee goes face-to-face with a man himself. If it were somehow possible that any person in this city didn't know that Michael Jordan had returned to the Bulls, just take a look at the Prudential Building downtown. It's all over the place. MJ back in a Bulls uniform and playing tonight. Well, why did he come back? That's a question that's been asked a million times since his return to basketball, and it's one that Wayne Larrabee put to Michael Jordan in an exclusive interview that they held yesterday.
Michael, almost 2 years ago, you left basketball. You wanted to get away from the media. They had no more challenges. Less than 2 years, you're back. Why now? Why jump back into a fishbowl that's even bigger than the one you left?
Well, I mean, either way, my life has been a fishbowl no matter what. You know, on the court, off the court. That's just something that I've kind of created for myself and certainly of my family. But I think being that I'm older, I know how to deal with that, especially for my family's sake. You know, when I'm with my family, that's my private life. That's certainly, you know, my time with them. I think one thing I kind of totally forgot, you know, once I retired 18 months ago, was my love for the game of basketball. As much as I tried to stay away from the game, I mean, the more times that I played, the more times that my appetite got wet. So, you know, once the baseball situation kind of diffused a little bit, I mean, it was good for me. I think it really gave me a chance to get my mind away from the game of basketball and more or less go back to the basics of, you know, participating, you know, from a, not from a standard of, you know, high standards that I've set for myself, but down where I had to work to get what I got.
You're coming home tonight, but this arena isn't really home. I mean, your home is across the street.
Well, the way that I see it is it's the neighborhood. It's the same neighborhood, but it's a different house. And it's a lot of resemblance to my new home or to the old home. But I guess, you know, things have changed, and it's pretty modern, and certainly you have to make it your home, and you have to bring some of those pieces from the old place to here just to make it your new home. So I'd rather have the old stadium, but in terms of modifications, I have to deal with this. And, you know, for the time being, this is going to be my home until I get comfortable.
So what's your future? How long are you here for?
Well, I mean, I got to finish out my contract, and you know, that's a couple years, I think. And from that point on, I mean, I got to evaluate what my interests are at that particular time, and I can't really. I don't want to look so far in the future that, you know, I'm pressed to live out a certain schedule. My life has always been, and my motto has always been to live it day by day, you know, and not try to think so far in advance that you kind of forget about the present. You know, I want to live for the present at this particular time, and the present is that I'm playing for the Bulls now, and I look forward to finishing out my contract. Now, what happens from that point on, you know, certainly is whatever I feel at that moment.
They couldn't restructure your contract, Scottie Pippen's contract, or anybody else's contract. Were there any stipulations that Scottie and Phil Jackson and you would be together through the duration?
It was a question, certainly. You know, I wanted to know what the status of these gentlemen were. I mean, I wasn't demanding not one thing. I've never demanded since I've been here, and I wasn't going to start at that particular time. Even so, you know, I could have easily, but I've never operated from that angle, you know. And yeah, I asked about Phil, I asked about BJ, I asked about Pippen, Tony, you know, just to see where I stood, you know, and that had a lot to do in my decision making. But, you know, I didn't demand these guys to get new contracts or you know, whatever, you know, what all the speculations were. But, you know, in terms of myself, I didn't ask for no extra money. I knew I couldn't because of the moratorium, and I came back under my old contract.
This team, do you think it can win a fourth title as it's constituted?
Certainly. I wouldn't be here if I didn't.
Tonight is a night that a lot of people in Chicago have been waiting for almost 2 years. What is your feeling going to be like as you wait to be introduced?
The thing that I feel is the crowd and the inspiration that they always have given me in the past, and I don't anticipate it being any different. You know, I mean, that's the adrenaline that the home crowd presents to their home team. I'm a part of this home team now, so I look forward to that adrenaline going through me, and certainly the inspiration to prove to the city of Chicago that we're not ready to go to wait till next year attitude. We still have an opportunity to make things happen now, and just don't give up on us. Just, you know, support us as they always have, and we're certainly trying to do the best job that we can on the basketball court.
And we'll hear more from Michael Jordan at halftime. Meantime, about T-minus 5 minutes and counting until Michael makes his first appearance on the United Center floor. Get those VCRs ready. We've got our cameras going, and we'll be back with all of it right after this. The United Center filling up quickly tonight, and the air of anticipation is just hanging in the building as we're about 3 or 4 minutes away from Michael Jordan's appearance on the floor. Before he comes out, we send it down to Rich King, who's got one of the biggest Bulls fans around standing right next to him. Rich?
Well, I tell you, Dan, you're just right. Everybody's waiting here for Michael to come in this foyer area, but you mentioned Jeremy Roenick, the hockey superstar here in Chicago. Jeremy, I imagine you're just like a fan tonight, huh?
Oh, I'm always a fan, especially when it comes to Michael Jordan. You know, he's a class act guy. He's done so much for the city. He's done so much for sports in general, and it's great to see him come back. I had a feeling he would, and I think he's going to rock this town tonight.
You know, the Blackhawks, of course, have a lot of stars, players too, like yourself. And the Bulls are coming out. Jeremy, they're coming out, so let's go to them, okay?
All right, let's do it.
All right, Bulls are coming out. Let's go to it, Dan. Michael Jordan.
Okay, Rich, thank you very much. So in just a moment, we'll get Michael Jordan out onto the floor. Again, the air of anticipation in here is just terrific as you see some of the Bulls coming out of the locker room. And if you've watched this team for very long at all, you know they have a special ritual they go through before every single game. It's one that began with former Bull Cliff Levingston as they stretch out and get ready down there in the tunnel. But the Bulls will come together in a huddle. They'll all put a hand in, heads down low, and somebody will yell, "What time is it?" And you probably know the answer. Game time. And for the first time, it'll be game time with Michael Jordan in uniform in the United Center. We've yet to see Michael's appearance. He hasn't come out of the locker room yet. But there's Ron Harper. You saw Corey Blunt, and a pretty good assemblage of media down there to capture the moment. Tony Kukoc on his way out of the locker room, and certainly we expect to see Michael coming out momentarily. And there he is, number 45, and being tracked down the hall by a number of camera people. We'll talk to Michael after the game, carry his press conference live, and ask him what he was feeling when he walked down that tunnel before this basketball game. Michael Jordan, the greatest basketball player in the history of the game, returning to the Chicago Bulls this week and playing his first home game tonight right here on WGN. Bulls getting ready to get into their huddle here. And here we go, waiting for a couple of stragglers.
All good, you know, out. What time is it? Daytime.
Michael's back all right, so let's burn the shack. We'll see how that comes. But in the meantime, you saw Michael Jordan take the floor with a big grin on his face. Back home again at last. 21 months after his last professional basketball game, the King is back in the building. You'll see signs and placards and banners being held up all night long. Many of those commercial entities, a lot of companies are passing them out to the fans as they come in. Many of the other ones, though, like the one you just saw there, homemade, number 45, Michael Jordan. Still sounds kind of strange when it rolls off your tongue, but I'll tell you, it won't be long until Michael and that number are old hat here in the United Center.
The roar was deafening, wasn't it, Allison? I couldn't even hear Mike watching Horace at center. Everyone took a look at Michael coming out. Even Horace had to glance to see what he looked like.
And the best part is, as Michael takes his practice layups, every time he makes one, the fans go crazy.
It's like a rock concert here. Everyone trying to get close to the stage, taking pictures whenever Michael does anything, whenever he's in a clear view of them. And it's funny because as you watch the Magic here, they're trying to be unaffected, but occasionally they will steal a glance.
Got to be quite intimidating. This is a night that's going to make history. The fans here, I can't wait to talk with them. This is going to be fabulous.
For once, we may see if the Bulls can turn this new building, the United Center, into some sort of home court advantage similar to the place across the street.
We're going to hear a roar. We're definitely going to hear a roar.
I think so. Let's hear from Dan Roan now.
All right, you guys, thank you very much. Yeah, that will be something to see. You know, I was here the night that the announcement, not that the announcement had been made, but the night that the rumor had started to circulate around Chicago that Michael may be on his way back to basketball. And I'll tell you what, there was a palpable electricity in the building even then, that night and the next night when the Lakers played on a Saturday. You could tell the crowd was a little bit more jacked up than it had been during the course of the season up to that point. And now, of course, tonight, I don't see a fan in the house sitting down in his seat at this point. Everybody on their feet trying to catch a glimpse of this historic moment Michael Jordan taking the floor at the United Center. Man, I'll tell you what, I've worked in this town for 11 years now, and I've seen most of the great moments in the recent history of Chicago sports. The Bears, the Cubs winning for the first time in 39 years, the White Sox claiming a division championship, and of course the Bulls having 3. But I'll tell you one thing, this is one of those spine-chilling moments that you'll remember for a long, long time.
Okay, we're here at courtside here. Michael Jordan, of course, on the court. I'll tell you, the excitement here is tremendous, Dan. Let's get a shot of Michael as we hear him from the end zone view, so to speak, making the free throws before the game. A tremendous ovation. We had a good chance, had a camera down there, of course, in the microphone, right in that Bulls huddle, as you heard live here on WGN, about the pregame activities they go through, the rah-rah spirit. So we're going to go back to Dan Roan up in the perch right now, but it's excitement galore down here at the courtside, Dan.
All right, Rich, thanks very much. He's on the floor getting warmed up. We'll let Michael take care of himself down there and let you get a break and come back with basketball here on WGN. Michael and the Bulls against Shaq and the Magic coming your way next. Thanks for watching, everybody. Enjoy the game.
Bullseye. Bullseye is brought to you by the Stars of Chicagoland, your local Chrysler Plymouth dealer. Wendy's old-fashioned hamburgers, where you don't pay more, you get more every day. And your local Chicagoland and Northern Indiana GMC truck dealers.